Okay, so you've seen the hype online, right? All these gurus talking about this incredible new business model. Well, I decided to put it all to the test. I gave myself exactly 7 days to build an AI automation agency completely from scratch. I really wanted to find out if this is a genuine opportunity, or if it's all just smoke and mirrors.
And yeah, this is the kind of hype I'm talking about. You've seen these numbers everywhere, I'm sure. People claiming that agencies are going from absolutely zero to $40,000 a month in 90 days. It sounds amazing, but let's be honest, it also sounds a little too good to be true.
So that's the real question, isn't it? Is this for real? Or are we just looking at the next big thing that promises you the world? You know, like dropshipping or SMMA did a few years back, only to leave a lot of people frustrated. That's what I needed to figure out.
So I set up the challenge. The rules were super simple. I had 1 week, just 7 days. I had to start with literally nothing but an idea. And the goal was to build a profitable agency. Now, that tight deadline isn't just for drama. It's designed to really stress test those wild claims about growing so fast. So let's dive in.
All right, so days 1 and 2 were all about laying the groundwork. No cold calls, no building anything fancy, none of that. Just pure focused strategy. Because I learned pretty quickly that if you get this part wrong, well, the whole thing just falls apart before it even starts.
And the very first thing that every expert screams from the rooftops is this: pick a niche. Do not try to be a generalist. Trying to sell AI for every business is a complete recipe for failure. You've got to become the go-to expert for solving one specific industry's problems. It's not just good advice, it's pretty much the #1 rule for survival here.
So, I picked my niche: tradespeople. Plumbers, HVAC technicians, electricians. And why them? Because they have what you'd call a bleeding neck problem. Think about it. When a plumber's under a sink or driving to the next job, they can't answer their phone. And every single one of those missed calls is a potential customer and thousands of dollars going straight to their competitor. Now that is a problem AI can actually fix.
So once I had that clear problem, building the actual offer was pretty straightforward. The solution was an AI voice receptionist that never sleeps, just booking jobs 24/7. I put a price on it, and then I built the most critical piece of the whole puzzle, a live demo. And I'm not talking about a slick video. I'm talking about a real phone number a potential client could call right then and there to see it work. That part's a game changer.
Okay, offer built, demo's ready. Now for the really hard part. Days 3 and 4 were all about the client hunt. The planning was over. It was time for pure action.
Now, if you look at how most new agencies get clients, you see a few options. But in a 7-day sprint, I don't have time for networking or content marketing. It all came down to that big 40% slice of the pie, targeted outreach. That was going to be my entire world for the next 48 hours.
And let me tell you, my first attempts at outreach were awful. I was sending messages saying things like, "We use advanced NLP to build AI automations." You know what I got back? Crickets. Total silence. The big shift happened when I stopped selling the tech and started selling the solution. Instead of jargon, I said, "Hey, I saw a Google review that said you missed their call." And instead of a boring demo link, I said, "Call this number right now." That's what finally got people's attention.
So just as I was starting to feel like I was getting some momentum, bam, I hit a wall, a massive wall. Days 5 and 6, my friends, is where the YouTube fantasy completely evaporated and the real hard work began. This quote I found from another agency owner on Reddit just says it all. This guy spent a whole month building this beautiful, complicated dashboard for his clients. And guess how many of them used it? 0. You know what they wanted instead? A simple WhatsApp message. It's a huge lesson. You can't build what you think is cool. You have to deliver the result in the simplest way they want it.
And this led to another painful realization. You have to avoid what some people call the DIY client. You know the type. They don't really want you to solve their problem, they want you to teach them how to do your job. They ask for all the technical details, they want to tinker with things. Trust me, they're not real customers. They are a black hole for your time, and they will absolutely sink a new agency.
And if you think these struggles are just for the little guys, check out this number. 95%. That's the failure rate of AI pilot programs in big enterprise companies, according to a study. Let that sink in. 95% failed to make it into the real world. It's staggering.
There's actually a name for this phenomenon. It's called the 30-day cliff. Basically, an AI can work perfectly in a controlled demo, but then it gets released into the wild with messy, unpredictable real customers, and it just falls off a cliff. The problem usually isn't the technology itself. It's the huge gap between that perfect demo and the chaos of reality.
And that brings us to day 7, the final tally, the moment of truth. After all the planning, the outreach, and the painful lessons, what were the actual concrete results?
Here it is, the honest, unfiltered truth. I sent 350 messages in total. Out of all of that, I got 8 positive replies. Those 8 replies led to 2 booked demos. And at the end of 7 days, I had signed 0 clients and generated exactly $0. Yeah, a little different from the $40,000 a month dream.
I wanted to show you the tools I use too because it's important to see you don't need to be a coding genius to do this. This whole thing was run on simple, no-code platforms. The technology is not the barrier here. The real challenge is the strategy, the sales, and frankly, the persistence.
So if I had to boil the entire week down, this is it. What actually worked? Getting super specific on my niche, giving them a live demo they could actually interact with, and solving a real painful problem. That's what opened doors. What completely failed? The generic "we sell AI" pitch and trying to build something way too complicated. Simplicity and focus were everything.
So, after all that, what's the real, honest takeaway from this whole experiment? Look, building an AI agency is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a real business, and that means it takes real work. The opportunity is absolutely massive. There's no doubt about it, but it's not magic. It requires the same things any successful business requires: understanding your customer, solving a problem they care about, and a whole lot of hustle.
And that leaves me with this one last thought. Is the goal here really to build an agency at all? Or maybe the truly massive, sustainable opportunity is to just forget the whole agency model and instead focus on becoming the absolute best in the world at solving one single painful problem with AI. Now that might be the real secret.